You're listening to the Limitless Broadcasting Network.
All it takes is faith and trust. Oh, and something I forgot. Dust. Just a little bit of pixie dust.
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Turn to page 394.
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
Welcome, Pixie Dusters. We're your favorite hosts. I'm Sammy.
And I'm Ashley. Welcome to the Pixie Dust Twins podcast featuring Dan.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
And we're produced by Limitless Broadcasting.
Go check out our social media after the show: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do you realize on our TikTok, we were more popular when we were doing Star Wars content?
I don't
and
know.
We are literally 200,000 away from 1 million views on that
Yes.
Harrison Ford video.
But to be fair, something's going on with like the TikTok algorithm, because a lot of people who used to get like decent views have been saying they're stuck where we are. So that's why I kind of was like, I'm taking like a little break, because it's just it's annoying to me.
Well, I've tried to do a couple other random things just to see if it can break it, but it's not. We're still sticking at that to something.
One of them did, and it was the Potter Puppet Pals.
Yes, I saw Potter Puppet Pals broke.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was it.
I just think it's hilarious that the only thing people are seeing of our page is Harrison Ford still.
They're still watching that video and I just stopped. I can't keep up with the comments and stuff anymore because it's just
I don't either.
many.
Last time I looked, we were 200,000 away from 1 million. I wonder where, and that was a couple days ago.
Well, it was less than that, I think, when I looked. Well, I don't know when I last looked actually at TikTok.
We're at 855,000.9 thousand views.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're 145 away from 1 million views on that video.
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh.
I
don't even remember what even happened in that. I
Literally, it's Harrison Ford and Conan O'Brien talking about the holiday special and showing a clip of it.
45,000 likes, 339 comments, 3,855 like saved people.
It's the same way on YouTube. I posted like the same video and it just blew up over there too. I'm just like, everyone loves Harrison Ford.
I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. The most we've had lately is Puppet Pals at 1188.
Yeah.
Everything else has been 2-something.
Yeah, the exact same range. Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because you would think Harry Potter would be posting up on.
And
there's a huge Harry Potter TikTok.
I don't get it either. And I put all the same stuff I was doing for Star Wars. I tagged them all the same. I do everything I was doing for those, and so yeah.
Yep, it's so weird. So people go see our TikTok, please. But anywho, we were talking Harry Potter and the Half-Blooded Prince.
Thank goodness. You got it right.
Saying it wrong. And we're going to talk about the book first, of course. That's what we've been doing this whole summer. So Leaky Cauldron has failed me. They barely have anything for any of these extra movies. So I've had to go on a weird dive. So I got some stuff from Screen Rants. I got some stuff from Oprah Daily. And I got some stuff from heartbeattravel.com. So let's dive in. So the beginning actually for the book is different than the movie. The movie opens up with them ransacking Diagon Alley. I think that's when they kidnap Ollivander. and doing all those different things, but actually it opens up with Cornelius Fudge talking to the Muggle Prime Minister. I remember reading this scene and like he just kind of pops up and I'm like, oh gosh, I would be freaking out too. Who are you? What's going on? And telling him about Voldemort and he's back in there in grave danger, blah, blah, blah. And it also is where we find out that Fudge is no longer the Minister of Magic, which is rightfully so, since he didn't listen to Dumbledore. And we now have Rufus he's a vampire. We have literally a vampire.
Yeah.
We have a vampire, the first vampire that I can think of in this whole series, as the Minister of Magic. I don't know how that works, but you know, sure.
Cool.
He doesn't last long. It's not there long. In the book, Tonks actually is the one who finds Harry on the train. If you guys remember, Draco. Oh, my dum of a husband. Freezes, uses, oh shoot, what's the spell? I should know this by now. I'm having a blank.
No.
What Neville uses, or what Hermione uses on Neville. Petrificus Totalis.
Yes.
Petrificus Totalis.
Yes.
I'm like, I should know this. I even use it in my game I play. Uses Petrificus Totalis to freeze Harry because he realizes he's hidden under his cloak. And in the movie, Luna finds him with her Spectra specs or something. But actually, the train takes off and Tonks finds him, and they have to somehow get off the train and get him back to Hogwarts. It's a little bit more dramatic in the book.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And while we're on the subject of Tonks, if you aren't a fan of the books and instead to choose to get your Potter fix by feasting your eyes on the big screen, then you'd have likely been confused at the romance between Lupin and Tonks. The book of the same name spends pages laying out the groundwork for this, showing Tonks to be infatuated with Lupin, and he hesitates to love her in return because, you know, he's a werewolf.
Yes, that is the only way to do.
He's a werewolf.
That's how it works. It's usually how it works.
Oh dear. And then it's something that doesn't happen in the books and they put in the movies, and I don't understand why they did it. I'm actually kind of annoyed that they did it, and I remember being annoyed when I watched the movie. Is they don't burn the burrow down. That's not even anywhere close to a thing. Like they go after him, but they do not burn it down, which is very odd because it's the exact same burrow when you see it in Deathly Hallows. So the movies created a weird architectural plot hole.
I guess they just rebuilt it.
I think they just wanted more drama, which I don't know why they would need more drama because it's a lot going on.
What I read was that in the book, they spend a lot of time where Harry keeps checking the paper and they're talking about all of these Death Eater attacks that are going on at his friends and around. So in the movie, they were like, we don't have time to just have Harry reading a paper and talking about it. So they put this in to try and incorporate that. I don't necessarily agree with this, but this is what they said. To incorporate the fact that there are random Death Eater attacks going on. And I did ask Robbie, who's not read the books, I said, what did you think of that? And he's like, oh, I thought it was really cool. And it showed the drama and it showed how scary everything is and what's happening. So from his perspective, not having read the books, he liked that scene. But I'm with you where every time I see it, I'm like, why? Why are you burning here?
Well,
but
they're burning my second husband's home, so I'm not happy about it.
Right.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. The Death Eaters doing the bridge thing. That's next movie, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
Remember they take out.
No, I think that's at the beginning of this movie.
And then they go into Diagon Alley.
Yeah, because they talk about it.
Mayhem.
Yeah, in the book they talk about it, and then they actually show it in the movie. Because I think
we already have a show of random. So why'd they put this in? That's my question. We already know.
I don't know, because there was a lot more of Harry talking about it during the book, and they didn't bring it up, so they threw that in the middle, I guess, to bring it up again. I don't know.
I mean, you can only talk about stuff on a movie so much. Like, oh yeah, this happened, but like, if you don't see it, people aren't gonna be like, huh, wait, what was the thing that happened?
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. In the book, Harry spends a fair chunk of time in Dumbledore's office poring over memories related to Voldemort's backstory, but they took a lot of them out. So they actually give us the whole kind of backstory of his mom and his dad, the Gaunt family, which is his mom's side of the family, and what they're like. Bob Ogden, I don't remember who Bob Ogden is. And then his mother's name is Merope. I think that's how you say it.
I think it's
Gaunt.
Merope, yeah.
As well as Honky, the house elf, and Hepzibah Smith. I don't remember. I think Hepzibah Smith, isn't she the one that goes off and they talk about a wizard who like went missing for a long time and they find her dead. I don't remember.
That might have been her. I think is
like
Bob Ogden. Bob Ogden might have been the original Ministry wizard that was going to see them when we're introduced to the gods.
Maybe.
I can't remember.
Don't remember
exactly. There's a lot of names. I don't know.
It was a big missed opportunity. Like instead of doing the Burrow scene, they could have just done another memory scene because we should have gotten the backstory of Voldemort. I think that would have been very important. I think that's very important, but that might just be me. Let's see here. Something that's slightly different in the book. Moaning Myrtle is present, even though we haven't seen her since Goblet of Fire in the movies. And Malfoy actually doesn't know that Harry's eavesdropping because Malfoy and Myrtle are having a conversation, which is just weird in my opinion. So he doesn't realize Harry's eavesdropping, and then he hears something, and that's what prompts him to attack him, not realizing it's Harry, I think, until he attacks him. And then he doesn't appear, he appears less cocky in this scene with the fight, because he's struggling. He is struggling.
He's going through some stuff.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Like the boy, I mean, we don't show it, but I didn't talk about it yet, but in the movie, when they're in Diagon Alley and they see everything is just apart, and Harry sees him and Boggart and getting his stuff. I mean, he's literally become a Death Eater, and he's so torn for it. And I think it's interesting because in all of the books, we see Malfoy just such an awe of his father, always kind of like on that evil side. But we're starting to see in this book that maybe all of that was a facade, and he really doesn't want to be a part of this. He just wants to be probably a 16-year-old boy and get done with school and I guess fall in love. I don't know. And all these things. And we're seeing really that tension of him fighting it.
Right.
Which is very raw in my opinion. Yeah, but that might just be because
well, up until now he's been really easy to hate.
Yes.
And now for the first time we're actually being like, oh, I kind of get you, buddy. Like
exactly.
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff you really didn't ask for.
Yeah, it's more nurture than the nature. Like I don't think his nature really is what he's been nurtured to be like.
Exactly.
No.
And just seeing the fear around Dumbledore, the fear around Voldemort
yes.
in the next movie, and his struggle when we get to that scene talking about him and like him trying to kill Dumbledore.
And the whole thing that I've read and whatever about this whole thing with Draco too is that a lot of the discussion around it is that Lucius got caught. He went to Azkaban, and they broke him out and all that. But when he first appeared way back in the Goblet of Fire, if you remember, he was one of the ones that Voldemort went up to and was just like, you didn't come to find me. And Lucius is like, oh, but I thought you're dead if I had known. So Voldemort's like got a thing against Lucius. Yeah. So he does some of the stuff he does to punish them. Like when he takes the wand in the next one from Lucius, because that whole thing. But in this one, he's punishing him by giving Draco this task and is basically like, Draco probably won't do it and he'll get killed in the process, and whatever, Lucius deserves it. And that's horrible.
Yeah.
So creative and whole new level of cruelty.
Yes.
Yeah. Almost an Umbridge thing to do.
That is an Umbridge thing to do. Punish you.
It's sad. It's sad that we think that it's sad knowing that Voldemort, we think that he's not as evil as Umbridge.
I mean,
really and truly.
It's true.
She's the worst.
Yeah.
She probably gave him the idea.
Yep. I mean,
Just saying.
Voldemort is cruel, but ultimately, the goal is to serve his end goals. His game
Mhm.
is,
Yes.
lust for
Mhm.
power. Umbridge is
Mhm.
cruel because she just enjoys it.
Yep.
Like she
She
gets
really
off on
does.
it.
It's very okay.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, big change. Big change. Speaking of that scene, so when there's actually a lot of changes they did with that whole like from the getting the Horcrux to coming back, blah blah blah. But Harry is not just standing there underneath the tower,
No.
looking up at the scene, because let's be real. Would Harry Potter actually not do anything, especially when it's Draco coming after Dumbledore? No, Harry would have been up there going after Draco. Like, that's not realistic in the
I
movie.
agree. I don't know why they didn't do the frozen
I know.
thing.
So
That bothers me.
Dumbledore Petrificus Totalis, Harry, and put did what Draco did, which I think is so funny and ironic. So it's the second time it was done to him. Put the visibility cloak over him, and all he could do was watch. All he could do was watch what was happening because he wanted to be up there and fight so bad. I don't even remember how he becomes unfrozen. Probably after
Dumbledore dies.
Passes,
Yes.
and then
the spell ends. Yeah, that's what he says. Like he knows he's really dead because now he can move.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's very annoying. But yeah, so that actually happened. Also, in the whole thing, when they return from the mission, they it's not all quiet and everything. The Death Eaters don't just sneak through to find Draco up on the tower with Dumbledore. There's actually not a massive, but it's a what this person calls a dress rehearsal battle of Hogwarts that is taking place, and they're rushing back to see what's going on, and that's when the whole scene kind of comes alive.
Yep.
With him getting petrified and blah blah blah. Not petrified. I guess it would be kind of a petrified man. So that was a big difference. And then just as the Death Eaters go to flee, Harry makes one last attempt to stop them. Enraged at Snape for murdering Dumbledore, he tries using one of the spells from the Half-Blood Prince's textbook, but it was sent flying back. The potions master then stands eerily over the boy who lived and reveals himself to be the person behind the spell and behind Harry's amazing potion marks. But that's all you get in the movie. The book actually explains how this all makes sense. Snape was a half-blood, and his mother's maiden name before she married Tobias Snape was Prince. So that's why he chose to go by that title.
Ah, see, that's so bad. I wish the movie would have explained this. Because otherwise you're like, what? I still don't get it.
Yeah. In the movie, they don't even have the spell go back and hit Harry. And he doesn't stand over him. It's more, they're still pretty separate sort of deal. I think the book made Snape so much more sinister, even in this scene.
Oh yeah. No, I'm pretty sure I almost physically recoiled when she was describing him in the book, when he was the flames were behind him. I mean, that is just so viscerally out of your worst nightmares.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers opted against including Dumbledore's funeral in the final cut of the Half-Blood Prince movie, believing it would have gone against the tone of the blockbuster. Fair enough.
Hollywood and Hollywood.
Well, it would have made, because if I remember correctly, the scene is very hopeful, and at this point, they want Hope dead.
Yeah.
Right.
So instead, they have Voldemort breaking into his grave.
Yep.
That's less hopeful.
Little bit.
A little bit. It's a little creepy, actually, how he got so close up to his face, and I'm like,
Does he do that in this one? I thought that was in the next one.
I thought he did it at the end of this one.
I don't think he does in this one because the whole thing about the next one is Harry's trying to figure out what he's looking for, and then he figures out it's the wand, and then he sees.
Oh, he does it at the end of Deathly Hallows?
Yeah, not the end. Part one. Yeah,
part one.
Yeah, not in this one. And this one is just dead.
Just them walking off in the flames.
There's that whole dramatic thing with Hagrid's hut being on fire,
which we'll get to here in a second. So all of that info was from Screen Rant. This is from Oprah Daily. Harry, actually, we hear about him inheriting the Grimmauld place and creature in the book after Black's death. They have a whole conversation about it. We don't hear about any of that in this movie. We really don't know about it until the fourth movie, or the Deathly Hallows movies.
Yeah.
And then in the book, you actually see a lot more of Belle and Fleur in this book, living at the Burrow, planning the wedding, and you see Fleur and Weasley, Mrs. Weasley, clashing like hardcore. She does not like Fleur. Towards the end of the movie, though, she does come around to Fleur in this book, because once Bill is bitten by Fenrir, I mean, Fleur says, she's like, I don't care what you look like. I love you. I am here for you. And Mrs. Weasley's like, okay, she's not as, what's the word I'm looking for? She actually has a good heart. She's just not all surface. Let's see here. In the film, it's not mentioned that Greyback actually turned Lupin. So Greyback was Lupin's creator, which is weird and crazy. And then apparently years earlier, Dumbledore, I don't remember this in the book, and I don't know if this is right. So Sammy, tell me if this is right or not. It is? Okay.
Yep.
So Voldemort, before he was Voldemort, actually tried to become the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Okay, so that's what it appears as, right? He comes back and he talks to Dumbledore and he's like, oh, there's an open position. I'd like to get a job here. And I think it's not until the next book that we find out, I think it's the next one. Anyway, we do find out eventually that really Voldemort came back so he could do more of his Horcrux stealing and hiding and all that. So that was really a ruse. He didn't really care about getting the job, but he does. He comes and talks to Dumbledore about getting a job, and Dumbledore's like, Tom, no.
Which makes sense because a couple of the Horcruxes are there.
That's really what his
requirement
purpose was.
Different things.
Yep.
And also this is why they all believe that the position was cursed, is because Voldemort tried to apply, or
I
Voldemort
forgot about
applied
that.
to the job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Could be.
And then in the film, Jenny hides the book in the Room of Requirement, but actually Harry hides the book.
I don't want that.
He actually is able to give up the book into the Room of Requirement. I know it's very weird. Like Moody Jenny, I feel so bad for Bonnie Wright, because she was the perfect, like, she looked like Jenny. I feel like if they wrote Jenny in the movies as she was in the books and gave her more, she would have been perfect for it. But I feel like they short-sheeted her.
They really did.
Yeah.
Like when it all kind of comes together, like you see how she's a much better match for Harry than like Luna or somebody else.
Yeah.
But it's just out of left field. Up until then, she really hasn't been anywhere at all. She's just kind of been there.
Yeah.
So it's like, it really was didn't work.
I mean, that relationship is hard to portray because a lot of what's going on with his emotions with Jenny is in his head in the books. Like when she's dating Dean, the angst, which does JK have a son? Yes.
Maybe.
She has a son. So then maybe that's where she figured out how to write these emotions. But like how she had Harry portray Dean and Jenny's relationship, it to me felt like a male's way of thinking, because a girl would not go where girls' thoughts would not go where Harry, like she described Harry thinking of the whole situation. So she did a really good job of it. We just
much of that.
It's in this book. No, just the book in general. It's like
just in the book. Yeah,
it's the book.
Yeah, where Harry's clearly jealous and all that.
I don't remember like
jealous, but like how she wrote it was just brilliant. But sadly, we can't bring that to the screen.
Exactly.
Yeah. And their first kiss was not in the Room of Requirement. It was in front of the whole school during a Quidditch match.
Yeah.
Wasn't it right after? I don't think it was during. Wasn't it like after they won that they did?
Well, yeah, like I think it was like after the victory. Yeah.
I just want to be clear that it wasn't like they were in the middle of flying around and they made out.
No, it was when they won. I already talked about Bill being bitten by Greyback, which I can't remember why he's not now turned into a werewolf. Because I thought if you got bit, you got turned. So I don't remember why he doesn't get turned, even though he got bit.
I don't know.
Unless you have to get bit when he's a wolf, I don't know.
Or is it like vampires, where it's like you bite them and then they have to like bite you back, but like get your blood?
No, because Lupin wouldn't have done that,
Lupin
right? Did that.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
It's a different kind
I'll look into it because we talk about it in the seventh movie, 7th and 8th movie. It comes up. So I'll try to find it in the book and read it.
Okay, because I don't know.
Give us some explanation.
I have no idea.
They do, I just don't remember where.
Mhm.
And then Ginny and Harry do become in a relationship in the middle of the book, but Harry actually breaks up with her at the end for her own safety, which I don't remember if he actually, like, there's not really a we're together and we're apart sort of deal in the movies. So I don't know.
No, there's not.
Once they're together, it's pretty much like everyone's assumed that that's how it is.
Yeah. Let's see here. Last couple things are from Heartbeat Travel. This one was a big change when Dumbledore and Harry returned from the cave. When the battle's going on, the dark mark is already up there. Bellatrix doesn't do it like when she's burning Hagrid's hut. It's already there when they get there. So that's so they think that there's already a student dead when they come back from the mission, but it was actually just a trap. That was a trap for them. And then after Dumbledore's death, there was a long fight sequence between the Order of the Phoenix members and students versus Death Eaters. Harry chases them, tries to attack Snape. We know this thing, but Death Eaters also attack Hagrid and burn his house. Jenny Longbottom, Hermione, and other students also take part in the fight, and many Death Eaters were killed as well. I don't remember if any students were killed. I don't feel like anybody was really killed in this one. It was more of a kind of, again, dress rehearsal for what happens in the next one, and that's what and that is most of the book differences.
Well, I see one thing that they did not mention, which I think is interesting, is in the movie, Dumbledore and Harry apparate from the tower when they go on their mission. But in the whole thing about Hogwarts is you can't apparate off the grounds, and Harry says that to Dumbledore, and Dumbledore's like, oh, well, there's perks to being me. But in the book, they don't do that. They go to Hogsmeade and do it. So, and he has to lie and say that they're just out doing whatever, because, and that's how they get caught, and everyone knows that they left because they had went to Hogsmeade to leave.
Yeah, Dumbledore doesn't have the perks that they make him have in the movie.
It's a pretty funny line, though. Even though I'm just like, that's wrong, but it makes me laugh when I do see that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you for pointing that out.
It's just one of those things I always think about when I watch it. So. Okay, so this movie, interestingly enough, is rated PG. So we were at PG-13 and we're back to PG. Yes, it is rated PG.
Oh.
Yeah, for mild sensuality, language, scary images, and some violence.
Big kiss. How is that?
It's a mild sensuality.
Mild sensuality. Jeez.
I don't know.
Horrid, deplorable violence is okay, but don't you dare have, people getting too close to each other.
No making out, okay?
Only in America.
But it's PG. Why isn't it PG-13?
I don't know. That's a PG movie.
Why is it saying kids and family?
And it says kids and family. I don't know for the genre. I don't know. The kids are back. I have no idea. I'm just like, I can't wrap my head around it.
Somebody made a mistake somewhere.
There's a mistake.
This is the rating because it's confirmed, but I don't understand why.
I'm saying they made a mistake
when they made that rating.
The MPAA,
it was meant to be something else, and they were like,
some joker watched this movie and was like, yeah, it's a PG movie.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
No. Is this director the rest of the year? Doesn't he stay on the rest of the series?
I can't remember if he does the last two or not.
I'm gonna
or if just these two. Okay, yeah, because I can't remember if it was just these two. So yeah, David Yates is back as director. Again, producer still David Heyman, David Barron. Writer Steve Kloves. Now, they didn't give credit to J.K., but obviously J.K. Rowling too. Release date. This one was out on July 15th, 2009. So he does stay on. David Yates.
The rest.
Okay, yeah. So he does continue the series. Okay. This one, box office gross in the USA was $302 million. A lot of money there. It's a 2-hour and 33-minute movie. Ratings, 84% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 78% audience score, and a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb. So, yeah.
We haven't even talked about Slughorn.
Yeah, we have not talked about him. But
oh gosh, okay.
Yeah. So cast, we have Horace Slughorn makes his appearance. Jim Broadbent plays him, and as we talked about in the last one, Helen McCrory plays Narcissa. So she is finally in the movies.
Yep.
All right, not as much trivia for this one. So, this is the only Harry Potter movie to be Oscar nominated for Best Cinematography. The only one out of all the movies.
That's a good choice. I did
I
like
would
rewatching
agree.
it. I was like, man, I forgot how good the cinematography was. in this
It
one.
is so well filmed. Yes. Yeah, it is very well done. So I could see why it got nominated.
Yeah.
Now this is fun. So originally, this movie was going to be released on November 21st, 2008, and they postponed it to July 15th, 2009. The decision officially, according to the studio chief, Alan F. Horn, was due to the writer's strike at the time, but unofficially, and apparently known to everybody in the business, this decision was following the massive earnings made by another studio movie, The Dark Knight, that came out in the week of July. So they were like, oh, July is a good week to release movies.
Yeah.
So with that, Twilight, which is supposed to be released in December, got moved up to that vacant slot. So it came out earlier. So I just thought it was funny that Twilight got moved up to its slot because it's Twilight. Yeah.
She's like, I'm cringing at my
I know.
college self."
I can see the face.
I'm just
I can see the face.
Yeah. We
Move
all
on.
had things in our younger days that were not bad.
move on.
All right. At the time of its release, J.K. Rowling has stated that this was her favorite one of the 6 movie adaptations.
I can see that.
I can totally.
I thought that was
yeah.
interesting. And as we said, Jim Broadbent plays Horace, who's a former teacher of Severus. But in real life, the actor was born in 1949 and is 3 years younger than Rickman, who was born in 46. There you go.
I'm sorry. Rickman's older.
Yes, by 3 years.
That Rickman looks at least 10 years younger than him.
Yeah.
Like if you compare
I
him
would
in
not
this
have known
movie,
that. Yeah,
I
I
would
would have
never
had no
known.
idea.
It's because he's Alan Rickman. He just,
He didn't
Well,
age.
he looked good up to the day he passed. Like
Yes, he did. He did not age.
he had there was like a weird, I don't know what made him so attractive, but there was something.
It's the
different that
voice
just
and
made
everything.
him-
the voice, the demeanor,
Yeah.
just the way he
Yeah.
presented himself.
Oh, Alan.
Well,
he
and
had
his
that,
his accent, I feel like it wasn't a British accent. It was his own Rickman
Exactly.
accent.
It was
There's
a
no
Rickman
way-
accent.
that's why his voice is so hard to emulate because there's no accent. He doesn't have an accent. You're right. He is Rickman.
It's,
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's just him.
What's his accent? Rickman. That's his
Mhm.
accent. Rickman.
Mhm.
yes.
Very sure.
We've made up a new accent.
Rickman. Yes. Okay, so I did not know this, but Dame Maggie Smith completed filming this movie while undergoing radiotherapy as treatment for breast cancer. That's very sad. I'm
I
glad
think she
she's
went
still
through
here.
Summit 2 during Deathly Hallows.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
At least
poor
the first
Maggie.
one, I believe.
Yeah. Hero Finds Tiffin was cast as Tom Riddle, age 11, when his uncle Rafe played Voldemort. So they are
I didn't know
related.
That was his nephew.
I had no idea. I was like, oh, okay.
Explains why he was so good at emulating him. I did notice that. As a
Yeah.
young kid, I was
The
like,
scary
man,
little 11-year-old.
He is
really was.
frightening. And that is, David Yates says that he hired Hero because of his not because of the resemblance to his uncle, but he liked the dark, haunted quality about the young actor.
Yeah,
So
he definitely captured it.
yeah. So I mean, he resembles him obviously, but it was mostly the acting. Which, hello, yes.
There have not been many like child actors that I've seen that can emulate that kind of darkness in the
That
stuff I've
kid.
watched. He's one of them, and Millie Bobby Brown is the other one.
Oh yeah, she
That's
knows
fair.
She
it.
plays. The only other thing I've seen her in, other than the Sherlock Holmes or the Enola Holmes movies,
Mhm.
is she played a sociopathic little girl in NCIS. And oh dear Lord,
Mhm.
she frightened me to death.
She's a
got
very
that
good
look.
actress.
She's
Mhm.
got
She was
that
like
look.
supposed to be. I think she was like 8,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and she did it. And I'm like,
Yes, that
how does
just-
she have this?
Yeah.
All in the eyes. That's the thing.
Oh, it was.
That's true.
The
That's
eyes,
true.
the tone of voice, her demeanor. It was a little too
Mhm.
scary. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
are you sure you're not
Demon
like this in
child.
real life?
Demon. Yes. hmm
The only other thing that comes to my mind is like the twin girls from The Shining.
Oh, they're
I've
classic.
never seen The Shining, so that would
Okay.
make sense.
Yeah, you should look it up. The twin girls. Give you
I'll look
nightmares for
them up,
weeks.
but I'm not watching it. I know better.
Okay. So, production designer Stuart Craig revealed that the 3 broomsticks design was constructed for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter theme park first. So then they constructed an exact replica during filming. And I did not realize that, and I thought that was fun. When Draco goes to the room of requirement for the first time, you can see the harp that put Fluffy to sleep and the king from the game of chess from the Sorcerer's Stone.
Final time.
What?
You said first. If anybody's looking for it, it says final time going to the room of requirement, not the first
Oh, is that
time.
what it said?
Yeah.
It sure says final. I can't read
Yeah.
it. I'm sorry. It says final. Don't look for it the first time he goes there. You won't see it. Oh, gosh.
Multiple scenes of him going there if you want to look for it.
Just wait till the last time and then you'll see it. There we go. Okay. So Tom Felton stated during an interview that in the end sequence of the movie, when Snape kills Dumbledore and he's leading all the Death Eaters out, there was an accident that happened. Okay. So before they started filming, Alan Rickman had turned around in this very sinister way and said, "Don't step on my cloak," which I can imagine would be very frightening coming from Alan Rickman. And they weren't sure if he was like joking or not. So who knows? But they were told by David Yates that they all had to stay very close together while they were leaving, right? So when shooting began, Felton was the closest one to Rickman and dug his heel into the cloak, causing Rickman's neck to rip back. Felton reported that there was an awkward silence afterward, clear that Rickman was not in a good mood after the accident had occurred. He continuously apologized to Rickman, and Rickman obviously did accept and made a joke of it later. But could you imagine? First of all, he's looking like Snape. He's got that big billowy cloak, and he specifically said, do not step on my cloak. And what does he do? Steps on
the one thing I commanded you not to do.
That just made me laugh. I'm like, Tom Felton was probably freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the scared emotion he's portraying as Draco is actually
like-
Tom just being terrified of
Thinking
Snape.
over there about what's about to happen. Oh my gosh, I gotta walk behind him again. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, he already had to spend 6 years working with the guy who played his dad, so he's dealing with that, and then now he's got to deal with Alan Rickman. It's like, dude's got some father issues.
Yeah. That's very true. Mm-hmm.
Jason did a good job of dealing with that.
Yeah.
Now, okay. So Snape's redemption. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So first one, even though we don't know it until the next book/movie, Snape kills Dumbledore. And we know from what we know in the future is that he did not want to do it. He was upset about this. And Dumbledore is just like, this is the way it has to be. I'm going to die anyway. And Draco cannot kill me. And they both knew it. So it kills me when Dumbledore looks at him and he's just like, please. It's so sad because you know now in that moment, you think he's begging him, please don't kill me, don't do it. But in reality, he's just like, please, it's time. Could you just get it over with?
You have to do it.
So sad. And you can see how hard that must be. Because, Snape really sucks. I get it. But he's obviously very close to Dumbledore. And that had to have been super difficult.
Can I throw a devil's advocate?
No.
I just want to get your opinions. It's more of an opinion question. It's a question.
I'll allow it. Okay.
You'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
So, do you think Snape could have gotten the mustard to kill him if he had not done the unbreakable vow to Sissy about protecting her son? Because the vow, if he doesn't kill Dumbledore, he dies.
I think at the end of the day,
do you think there's some selfish in him that he knew he had to kill him or he died?
I don't think so. That might be wrong. But I think at the end of the day, he had already had these conversations with Dumbledore. He already knew what was going on, because Snape is in on all the secrets of the Death Eaters and was already in cahoots with Dumbledore about it. And I think they had already had a discussion. So that's why he's like, yeah, I'll do the unbreakable vow, because at the end of the day, I've already agreed to do this regardless. Like, I'm vowing to protect Draco, and I've agreed with Dumbledore that we will protect the children, and I will do what I have to, and Dumbledore is going to die anyway. So go ahead, Dan.
So you're asking just so I'm clear, like you're asking if he hadn't done the unbreakable spell, he would have just let Draco do what he was doing. In other words.
Well, I don't know if Draco would have done it. I'm
think
saying, do you think Dumbledore would have actually died by either one of their hands that night if he didn't do the unbreakable vow?
Like Snape just wouldn't have done it at all.
Like it ended up being Bellatrix or somebody else.
Yeah.
Because no one else is doing it.
Or the only reason he did do it was because he knew
only-
he would die because of the unbreakable vow. And if he hadn't done that, he wouldn't have bothered.
No, I think Sammy's right. Like I think they he had pretty much kind of committed to this, and he's been playing both of these sides for so long. Like, at this point, there's no going back for him.
Here's the thing that here's the only reason why I'm wondering if he would actually have hesitated and maybe not, because number one, Dumbledore has kind of become his only friend, his only parent figure, and how, like, in the moment you say you can do something, like it's human to say you can do something until you get to that moment.
You have to actually do it. Yeah.
So
And
in that
he didn't
case,
have the vow over him. In that moment, do you wonder if he actually could have done it because of the connection he has to Dumbledore? Even though Dumbledore probably infuriates him, even though he can't believe the crap that, but there is a loyalty there because Dumbledore got him out of all the crap from earlier in his life. There's a loyalty there that I'm like, I don't know if he would have been able, because yes, Dumbledore might have been dying, but he still was in pretty good condition at that point.
well,
it wasn't to the point where he was going to keel over in 2 minutes.
well, we don't know though. So Snape had been taking care of him behind the scenes, right? Giving him potions, taking care of him, which we saw a little bit, but we never really got the full story on that. So I still really think that Dumbledore was closer to death than any of us were led to believe, because he'd been trying to fight it off. And I think Snape would have done it regardless, even though it was the worst thing in the world to do, because Dumbledore basically begged him, please, Severus, if anyone's going to do it, please, will you do it? And end this and keep the fight going. So I think he still would have done it, but I do agree with you. I don't know how. I think it would have been the hardest thing in the world to have to do that.
Yeah, he definitely might have hesitated.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he kind of did.
He did.
He kind of did.
He did hesitate. To be
I feel
fair,
like it would have
yes.
been more.
Yeah,
and I know he had to do it, like, in retrospect now, seeing all of it, because it gave Voldemort the trust back into Snape that he needed.
right.
Like,
exactly.
it was very strategic on him also being the one to kill Dumbledore. But yeah, I look at that scene sometimes now, knowing everything. I'm like, it makes me just wonder.
Yeah,
it makes me wonder.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. And when Harry is chasing him, when Harry is chasing him and yelling, "You're a coward," and all that, right? Technically, Snape does not fight back. He deflects the spells, and he doesn't.
Back onto Harry. He could have deflected them anywhere he wanted.
One of them deflects back onto Harry, but that's because Harry just keeps poking the bear and is just like, "You're a coward, you suck, I hate you." And then he does that Sectumsempra spell, and Snape's just like, "Bro, do you know where that came from? Let me school you." Like, he finally just angered because Snape just killed like his best friend, and now he's being yelled at by this kid that he still has to protect until the right moment because he knows all of this now.
Yeah, I know.
But he's setting Harry up for. Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying he could have done some like basic kind of like worthless spell to be like, "Get away from me, Harry." But instead he's just like, just knock it off, just deflect the spells, whatever, until Harry really got under his skin, because Snape is still Snape.
Right. Like,
I mean, at the end of the day,
there is redemption, but not that much.
Yeah, we're a little annoyed with you now, Harry. I need you to just shut up. Okay.
Okay, but in retrospect in the bigger picture for Harry, number one, does not know any of this is happening.
Well, no.
The only father figure other than Sirius, who just died last movie, he probably looked at Dumbledore as more of a grandfather figure, even though he didn't realize Dumbledore was raising him to be killed. Just got killed by the man he hates the most because he talks bad about his parents. Of course he's going to go after Snape.
Oh, I don't think there's a problem with that.
It's a very natural reaction.
No, I think Harry should have done that. I don't think there's a problem. I'm just saying
you
that
said
Snape...
Harry was annoying you. I'm like, but
no, I said no. Harry was annoying Snape because he's yelling at him, "You're a coward."
I thought you just said you were annoyed by Harry.
No, I think Harry should have done that. If I were Harry, I would have done the same thing. He doesn't know exactly what he said. Yeah, but I'm saying Snape could have reacted a bit differently, even if he did some bogus spell just to get Harry away from him. And
he was
just
more
deflects.
sinister in the book about it.
Yeah, it's a little worse.
In the movie's not bad.
Yeah, in the movie it's a little bit better, but everything he does in the movie is dialed back a little bit from the book. But that is just something. And then he does, regardless of the unbreakable vow and everything, I think he still would have watched over Draco no matter what. He still would have been trying to protect him because he did
Draco's
have that.
His favorite.
Yeah, and he had that conversation with Dumbledore too about it. Like they were going to make sure they took care of Draco, and at least somebody was.
I'll give him that since he's watching over my husband.
Somebody should have been, because no one else cared about Draco.
No, no one. Even like his friends, even like just what's her face that followed him around like a little lost puppy, like all of them. They just none of his friends were actually his friends.
No.
Like the poor boy was set up for a horrible, horrible school year.
Yeah.
It just makes me so sad for him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to save him. I don't want to change him. I just want to save him from all of it.
Not exactly better than changing somebody, but you know. Savior, what is it? Savior complex?
Oh yeah, Ashley is one of those.
Hey, I have one too. Okay, it takes one to know one.
Look at her think
That's
about
why I
it.
have no
I'm
problem
trying to think.
calling
I'm
it
like,
out. You're a saver.
A little bit.
I am.
You are a
Yeah,
savior.
A little
I
bit.
am.
It's okay.
You got a hero complex. I know. 'cause
This
I
is
got
why
one
you're a
too.
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
That's why you're a Gryffindor.
Mhm.
It fits.
It's probably why I had like what I do like with youth and my
Mhm.
kids and
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
yeah. It's okay. I get put in my place when it comes to that sometimes.
See? I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You just know
No.
how to use to use
You
it
have to
properly.
monitor it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Channel your powers for good.
Mm-hmm.
I try.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Done. Done.
All right. So yeah, I didn't really have aside from Slughorn, which I thought was going to be obvious. I really didn't have anybody new. You know, Luna. You know, she's always fun. I really like. I actually did like Harry in this one. And then
That's fair.
you know, Ginny, because she, you know, even though we haven't seen much of her, you know, she comes into her own, and we start to see why they're a better match for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Hermione in this one as well. I liked
Yeah.
Ron too, even though Ron was kind of he was kind of whiny in this one. But
Well, we haven't even
enjoyed him.
talked about him and Lavender.
No,
I don't know if I
haven't.
want to.
I don't really want to talk about it.
I mean, look, the poor man has been virtually ignored this entire time. Let him have a little fun. You know, let him play the field a little bit. I mean, let him enjoy
but
this.
he's
He's earned
like,
it. Let him step out of
He
Harry's
knows what he's
shadow.
doing. He
He
knows what he's doing.
Let him
For
step
to
out of Harry's
Hermione.
shadow.
it's
Let him have a
it's
little
not
fun.
the Harry thing. It's the Hermione thing.
Mhm.
It's the
I mean,
he
he's-
knows he's
always
hurting
like
her.
this. Oh,
Does he
you're
really?
with Victor Crumb, blah
Oh,
blah blah
yes.
blah blah. And now look what
He
he does.
knows.
This is why Ron
Yeah, but I
gets
mean,
on my
that-
nerves.
after all that, he's like, okay, Hermione obviously doesn't like me, so I'm just gonna move on.
Ron is an
That's
Yes,
idiot.
but he is still harboring all the. He shouldn't have been dating Lavender because honestly, Lavender was just a step in for the fact that he couldn't get Hermione.
You don't think he was trying to move on from Hermione though?
No.
I think part of what happened too was that whole Slughorn, the Slug Club, and he didn't get
Mhm.
invited. And once again, Ron feels left out, and it's Hermione and it's Harry, and it just added to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, again, I mean, it's instead of like, you know, I see it as like a guy, instead of dwelling and stewing and getting angry, he just takes matters into his own hands. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go be my own rock star.
He didn't even
That
like
is in his own
Lavender.
hand. She attacked him, and he just let her
Exactly. I don't think he liked her.
go after Lavender. She attacked him, and he just let it happen. He just went along for the ride.
Still counts.
Okay.
I mean,
He's milking
Hermione
it.
even wanted to
He is
take him
milking it.
to. She wanted to take him to the holiday party before Lavender jumped him, and Ron was being so dumb about it.
Well, he is dumb.
Yeah.
Like
But
he knew what he was doing.
Gets on my nerves.
Sorry,
yeah. I mean,
I've never
power
been a
play.
Ron fan, so it doesn't help me.
Yeah. I'm not a Ron fan. I like Myrtle. I find him amusing. He a little confused, but he got the spirit. That's how I see him.
Okay.
That's how I've always seen him.
Okay.
He's kind of an idiot, but he's got a good heart.
Until next movie, he is a uber idiot.
He is.
Or is it next movie or the? Yeah,
No, I
it's the
think
next one.
It's the
I
next.
thought it was part 2.
Which one
No,
does he?
I'm pretty
No,
sure
it's
it's the
the
next
end of
one.
part
It's
1
the
and
next
beginning
one.
of part 2. Okay.
It's in the middle of the next one, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the second one they're together and they're going after the Gringotts.
We
and
start
all
off
the
at
things that
Gringotts,
lead up
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I keep seeing that speech he gives Hermione. I'm like, oh, look at that. He's finally grown up. Good man. When he finally confesses his feelings for like
Oh,
Hermione.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? There's
No,
a
you're
couple
like-
speeches, and one of them I want to punch him in the nuts. Like,
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, Ron.
Yeah.
Oh, Juan.
Oh,
Juan.
Ron.
Juan. I do love, like, and here's why you know that he didn't even try to move on and he hasn't moved on, is at the very end of this movie when he is, or not in, but when he's in the bed and not Luna, oh gosh, Lavender is there and Hermione is there and he says Hermione's name and not Lavender's name.
Best scene
No.
ever.
Mm-hmm. Hermione's
So
little
funny.
grin. It's hilarious.
So funny.
And her going out with that
What's
cocky
his face?
cocky Gryffindor,
yeah. McCormick, yes. Because it would
See,
bother
don't get me
Ron the
wrong, but then
most.
she's
Because
going
it would
after
bother
him, so-
Ron. Yeah.
Exactly.
They
So
both are a little.
They're making each other jealous. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's true. And Harry's just over here like, you guys, could you not? Voldemort's coming back. Could we stop, please?
He's not. He's dealing with jealousy on his own with Dean, so it's whatever.
That's right. And he's got all his monster
Mhm.
and stuff in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite, Jenny the book. I love Jenny in this book. When she finally realizes Dean's an idiot and leaves him, doesn't he get he doesn't get abusive, doesn't he?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Something
I think
happened.
Hermione says something like the way he talks to her or something is like disrespectful. I
it's
can't remember
not-
though.
Yeah.
That feels right.
And then I love Hermione in this movie. I love Hermione in this book. I'm back on the Hermione train.
Mhm.
Well, I've been on
Love
the Hermione train, but she's just great because her personality comes a little bit more, trying to make Ron jealous.
Mhm.
Just everything. I just love
Mhm.
her. Draco, even though he has issues,
Sad Draco.
my sad little Draco.
Sad Draco.
I am not a Slughorn fan. He
Really?
just annoys
really?
me. He just annoys me
He's such
because
a joyous individual.
He really is.
Just embraces life.
what I think annoys me the most about him is his slug club. The favoritism, and I am so
the Slytherin.
against favoritism.
Slytherin.
I know.
There you go.
I'm so against favoritism and how teachers do that, and I've seen how that destroys students.
They do.
It's the teacher in me,
Yeah.
it's the small group leader in me, because we have that problem at my youth group. Not middle school, but
I dealt with
other
some of that
ones.
at SCU. I get it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, we had it at SCU. It's favoritism is not healthy for this age group, and when adults put favoritism into this age group, it destroys people. So I'm
It just makes
not
you-
a fan
if
of
you're-
Slughorn.
Yeah, it makes you on the outside. If you're on the outside of it, it just makes you not care. Like it makes you like what's the point
Yeah.
of even trying? Like I'm not going to get further any further because you don't care about me.
I think it doesn't bother me because I feel like most of the people don't really care that he's trying to collect them. Like they just think it's kind of silly, you know. But to him, it's very serious. It's very serious.
It is very serious because he needs to be able to like skew favors and different things later on.
But I just love how Harry's like, "Oh, would you want me to let him collect me?" And Dumbledore's like, "Yes." And just like it's ridiculous.
Oh gosh. Those are my like big three. I mean, I like Harry. The only book that Harry annoys me is the fifth one. But other than that, Harry's great in all of them.
Yeah, he's got a lot to deal with in this one, so
yeah. He's got a lot going on.
And I like book Harry and Ginny together too. I agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. Sadie.
So I already said like everybody. I love everyone that's been listed, and then of course I listed Snape, but that's more because I know like what he was going through behind.
When
the
we
scenes.
originally saw this movie before we knew, or
I knew.
originally
I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I remember arguing with you when we were like teenagers about
when the book.
Snape.
It had to be the books because we already read Deathly Hallows by the time this movie came out.
Yeah, but I remember the thing I remember about Deathly Hallows when it was coming out was because I hadn't argued with you that I was like, no, Snape is going to turn out to be on the good side, and we argued about it. And I remember when Deathly Hallows came out, I was like, do you see? There's a whole chapter on it in your face.
See, we've been having
I
this.
remember.
The sad thing is we've been having this argument since high school.
A very long time we've been arguing about that.
And neither of us have changed.
Still on the same sides. Yes.
Old
but-
grudges die hard.
It's
But we're still
so true.
besties. It's fine.
It's so true. Yeah. But that's why. Not really. It's just more so because I know. And, you know, I like when we get to more insight to Snape and, you know, like the Half-Blood Prince and where that came from. And the fact that he did that whole thing with the potions book, even though he put that sketchy spell in there. Let's ignore that one. But though you can tell
Brutal.
he's just so smart by all the little
Yeah.
notes he made about to do the potions and, why he should be the potions master, even though he thinks he should be the defense against the dark arts teacher. He really is keyed into potions, and that just shows. So.
He is a true artist when it comes to his craft. Like, that's what I love
Seriously.
about, like, just the little, like, he probably, like, when it talks about when Harry's got the book and he's like, oh no, don't crack it, you crumple it, or whatever
Yeah, like you don't cut it, you crush it, whatever it was.
You
Yeah.
crush it.
You know, don't put 12 of these things, put 13 of them. It's like,
Yes.
Snape just got curious and said, I wonder what this does. And then he tried it and then it worked. Like, that's a guy who's just on endlessly creating.
He's meticulous.
Very meticulous, very creative, very just always thinking, always, his mind's just always going. Like, he's kind of a genius. Like, he's
brilliant. Yeah.
I admire him in that.
Yeah.
With that.
Can we just acknowledge the fact the way they portrayed Hermione as she's trying to do the potion in her hair and everything gets crazier and crazier and crazier,
and the way she's
Harry
looking at
finally
Harry
does something better than her. It's perfection in that.
Yes,
scene.
that's why I
She's
listed that as
finally
one of my
kicked
favorite
down.
things because of that. Yes, for Hermione.
Her
That's
world
not what the
lining
book
up
says.
right now.
Because I would be doing what Hermione did. I would be like so frustrated because I'm very much like follow the instructions when it comes to formulas and different things.
Right.
That's so funny.
Oh, that takes me back to chem class. Oh, Fallen.
One of my favorite classes.
Very much so. It's odd that my favorite teachers in high school were science teachers, but but I thrived better in English.
That's okay.
We had some good English teachers, just weird.
We did.
But I had what's her face. You didn't have her. Junior year. You had Couch another year, and I had Myers.
Oh, I never got to experience the wonder that was her. No. No.
No sadness. All right. Are we ready for favorite scenes?
Sure. Yeah, add a few more of these. And again, this is another one of those ongoing things throughout each movie. It's being reunited at the Weasleys.
Yeah.
Always a warm, happy feeling. I put this looking up the stairs because I actually saw this in the theater when it came out, having really not been familiar with Harry Potter. Like, I watched the previous movies, but didn't have much of an emotional attachment. But that one scene where they were looking up the stairs and like Ron pops his head out and then Hermione pops her head out, they're kind of like, that's the one scene from that movie when I saw it in the theater that always stuck in my head. So I just really, like cinematography, directed, very well executed. It's almost like musical. At this point, it's like here we go again. We're reunited. Hey, everything taking place at the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. I forgot how.
So much fun.
The whole thing is so good.
Yes.
Seeing the twins just come into their own. Just wonderful. Luna saving Harry, even though it was also a good scene, even though it wasn't Tonks like it was in the book, still a great scene.
Yep.
Slughorn teaching potions, that pretty much that entire potions class. And then where we're like, Hermione's really coming into her own with her feelings for Ron, and she's describing like his scent, like without us realizing it, and then it starts to get more specific. It's like, oh, okay, you are down bad. There you are. And Ron's just like, oh.
Like Ron does, yes.
Exactly. And that's another one of the ongoing themes that I like in this movie. Just all the angsty, lovey situations, the bad matches, the secret longings. It just adds to the tension, in this movie. It's kind of like Goblet of Fire, but like in a more mature way. Where it's like all this epic thing is happening, all these epic things are going on, and we're also still in high school, and we have love triangles. And then Ron winning the match, thinking it was because Harry spiked his drink, and Hermione just like shaking her head, like you idiot, but like can't help but grinning. And then and then you find out that like Harry had nothing to do with it. It's just Ron believing in himself.
Finally,
yes.
Exactly, and that's what I say. Like Ron becoming his own rock star. It's like he really didn't need anything. He just had it. He needed the push.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
So just the fact that he had that, and he had his friends behind him, like he needed that. He needed to kind of own his own little world for a little while.
Yeah.
Not all the time. He kind of had to grow out of it eventually, but he needed his moment, and I'm glad he got to have that. And then Sammy, you mentioned this too. I think everyone kind of mentions this, but he gets love potion potion.
I love that.
And then the
So funny.
just completely gone. And we don't really know. Like we think he's talking about the one girl who's crushing on him, but then
Lavender.
Lavender. And then we think, oh no, he's talking about Hermione, and then it's like somebody else entirely. It's like
Ramona.
Yeah,
I love
Ramona.
her. Okay, great. You're in love with her. Wonderful. Have you ever talked to her? Oh no, could you introduce me? Like
That's
that whole,
so funny. Oh, I love it. And Harry's just like, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they're coming to Slughorn. He's like, guys, what? This is so like, no, really, really powerful love potion. He's like, oh, all right, yeah, come on in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't. Did you? I don't know if this was mentioned at one point, but I feel like I read this somewhere where Ron where like they're making the potion and then Harry mentions Voldemort and he's like, don't say his name. All the while Ron's in the background, he gets on the couch and then he falls over. Like, am I reading this correctly where that was actually an outtake and they just left it in? Did you?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't see that in
Possibly.
anything. I'll have to see if I can dig that up.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I feel like I may have read that somewhere.
I really hope it was now. I hope that's true. That's even funnier. I really hope that's true. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but that whole scene just spot on.
So
much
funny.
fun.
Oh, it's so funny. What about you, Ashley?
Sorry,
Anything
I'm
to add?
trying to find a quote that I can't remember off the top of my head. It's Fred and George Coke, and I can't find it. I'll
Oh,
keep looking here in a second. What are we on? We're on scenes, aren't we?
yeah, scenes.
Okay.
You didn't put
I'm like, what
anything,
scenes?
so I'm like, I don't know if you had anything to add or.
Match. I mean, of course I love a lot of the things that Dan said. I loved the scene, and it's the quote I'm trying to find where they're in the wizard wheezes or whatever their store's called, and Ron's like, how much is this?
Oh, 5 galleons.
5 galleons. Oh wait, you have it on here. Dang it, I didn't see that you had it. Okay. But that scene where he's like, but I'm family. 10 galleons. Like,
That's and the way they say it in unison makes it so much funnier. Oh,
I love that scene.
Same
I love that
inflection.
scene.
it's
Mhm.
great.
Oh, we're professional.
Mhm.
Guys, it's
Yep.
professional.
Mhm.
All right, let's make it more. Why not?
Exactly.
Exact
That's
same
so funny.
exact same inflection.
So great. So I love that scene. I feel like there's not like a lot of the scenes that I like enjoyed. They're like the darker scenes, and they're not like my favorite, but
Mhm.
oh gosh, I really should have wrote everything down this morning. I can't even think of it now. I had it in my brain and now it's gone.
Mm.
Oh, the scene where it's very sad and dark, but for some reason it to me it was just kind of a beautiful scene when after Lavender and Ron start kissing, Hermione like leaves and Harry follows
Oh,
her,
yeah.
and when
Mhm.
she's sitting there just for once, for the first time, we see emotion from Hermione
Mhm.
about something other than like school.
Mhm.
And she has the birds flittering, and her and Harry have this brother sister moment that is very beautiful. And I love when Ron comes and she's like, what's with the birds? And she's just the flip switch of like
Mhm.
anger, and then shoots him at him. I'm like, yep,
Yes.
I do that. That's what I would be doing right now.
I love that too. I agree.
It was a beautiful scene. It really shows they really do develop. They try to develop Ron and Hermione very well in this one into the next one, and they've done it throughout the series. But I still don't know if I agree with them being together, but they did a really good job of
It makes a
the
little more sense
angst
after
and
seeing it.
bringing it through. Especially with the friends to lovers trope is what they really
Right.
are.
Mhm.
Even though everyone thinks it's a love triangle, which it's not.
I don't think so.
No. I mean, with Lavender, it's a little bit of a love triangle, but that doesn't even. Yeah. The love potion scene, like Dan said, I love that scene. It's hilarious. The scene where they're in the library and Hermione's like, you need to be careful because these girls. They
Right.
just
Dan
want you
has
because
the
you're
quotes in
chosen
here
one.
too. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I am the chosen one. Like, I love her smacking him on the head. Just like, it's like, okay, sorry, I'll go with someone else. I'll go with someone
Yeah.
cool,
Right,
or
exactly.
whatever. It's just like, oh God, I love that scene because it's very much, you really do in this movie see the brother-sister relationship between and the friend, like the good friendship between Harry and Hermione. And I think that, in my opinion, Hermione and Harry are better friends than Ron to Harry. I feel like there's too much jealousy that happens between him and Ron. There's too many things happening. Like, sometimes I wonder if they would have continued to be friends after school if Hermione and Ron didn't get married. Because you never know, like, after school, though, when those types of things come out, you kind of get them out of your life. So I don't know. It's just one of my weird thoughts of like, what if? I like what if thoughts.
What do you think? Do you think that they would have after high school they would have actually like gotten together, or just remain really good friends?
Hermione
and Harry.
And Harry? Oh, I don't know about that, but I'm saying like, if Hermione and Ron didn't get married, would Harry and Ron drift if Ron couldn't find himself?
Yeah. I sadly I could see that happen.
I agree too. Yeah.
Yeah. Hermione, again, the glue that holds everything together.
It's very true. Yes.
Yeah. Sammy?
So, first of all, I just want to say that, like, it's been a month now. A month ago, I went and I saw this movie live at the Dr. Phillips Center.
No, I was so jealous.
I'm so sorry, but they were playing the music live. So the movie was on the screen and they had captions on it, but the music was all taken out of the movie, and the Orlando Orchestra played it live. Okay. So awesome. First of all, going there and seeing all these people dressed up. Not everybody was dressed up in like costumes, but there were a fair number of people who were wearing their colors or their robes. You know, I wore like blue for Ravenclaw. That, first of all, was fun. Secondly, when they're going to play the movie, they specifically said, we want you to have fun. So be loud, cheer for your favorite scenes, you know, don't be quiet during the movie. And it was the most fun. I wish I could see every Harry Potter movie with just a theater full of Harry Potter nerds so that we could all react to the movie. It made me appreciate this movie even more than I already did. It was so much fun, and just seeing who they were going to cheer for, who they weren't going to cheer for. Like, of course, you know, Harry and Hermione and Ron got cheers. Bellatrix got cheers when she came on the screen. I wasn't sure. I was like, we'll see. I'm going to cheer for Bellatrix, but
there are a lot of Bellatrix.
A lot of fans. Alan Rickman got a huge applause when he appeared. He was, you know, Draco. To be fair, Tom Felton did as well. Lavender got booed. That was very funny. When they
of course she got booed.
Yeah, there were a lot of talking back at Lavender, telling her to shut up, go away. Like, that made me laugh a lot. So some of these scenes are even funnier because of that. But yeah, so that just, it made the movie even funnier. So some of the things that were funny anyway, like getting to sit in that theater with them, it amped it up. So I think that made me appreciate some of these a little bit better. Like the love potion scene and all of that was just even better with the room full of people. But the one we talked about the love potion to death, and then Harry's best in potions, again, super funny. Watching Hermione struggle, and then at the end too, when he gets the potion and everyone's just staring at him. It always makes me laugh. Like, nobody cares. Exactly, they're all just like, are you kidding me right now? So funny.
I want to know what Snape's reaction was when he finds out about this. Like, I would love to see Snape's reaction of, I'm sorry, who did you give the best of potions?
Harry Potter. Harry Potter? The same Harry Potter, right? What? Yes, super funny. And then can we also talk about Slughorn's like outfit when he's teaching? Like, he wears the little like graduation
Well, I think that's what they wore back in his day.
I think so too, and it just makes me laugh that he's just rocking it. Like, it fits his character, but it's very odd. It sticks out
he's
a lot.
Kooky little man.
He certainly is. And then the Slug Club party is just great. I love it. Hermione trying to duck out from McCormick and trying to hide, and then
Dragon
she eats
Balls.
that food when they're like, it makes your breath smell terrible. She's just like scarfing it down, ducking to hide, and then when McCormick shows up and he eats one, and then he asks Harry what it's made out of, and Harry says like Dragon Balls, and then he throws up at Snape's feet, and the way Snape just stares. So funny.
You're sending yourself a munched attention, Mr. McCormick.
Exactly.
Not so fast, Mr.
Oh,
Potter.
it's great. And then Snape is there, right, to tell Harry, you know, Dumbledore can't meet with you. He is traveling. He will see you after the holidays. And then Harry's just like, well, where's he going? And it's so funny to me because Snape just stares at him and walks off.
Yeah.
He doesn't
In
reply. He
true
doesn't acknowledge
Snape
that Harry
character.
said anything to him.
It was
He
so
just
weird.
leaves.
The
Oh,
face. It's just-
yes. Oh, it's just so funny. I just love the party. It just cracks me up every time. I just can't get over it. But there's just so many good scenes, and I know we've got quotes coming up. Like Dan has some that I really love too. But like when
Mhm.
he finally takes the potion and he goes with Slughorn, and there's that whole bit with dead Aragog, and it's just
Aragog. Oh,
and
gosh.
yeah, like you're gonna do the pincers thing. Like, oh my goodness. It just cracks me up. And like, you know, when Slughorn's talking to Harry, it's just like, Harry, and he's just like, sir. It's so funny. And Hagrid's is the place to be. Oh, there's a lot of funny things in this. And then all of a sudden, the second half of the movie comes and you're like, oof. Well, we got all the funny out of the way for this one, because now this entire movie is in a different way.
We had to soften the
Yep.
blow, you know.
Woo. And then
Yeah.
okay, when Dumbledore dies, right? Very sad. Okay. One thing that was so great at the theater too is that when he died, all of the characters raised their wands and light them, right? And a bunch of people in the theater got their phones out and lit their cell phones as the same tribute. My phone was in my bag, and it would have been like a whole awkward thing for me to get it out. So that's the only reason I didn't participate. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. Like, it's just like a 3D movie now, like where everybody's acknowledging the death of Dumbledore. And yeah, so I highly recommend this. Anybody who can go, I highly, highly recommend.
You know what would be really cool? I mean, I'd love to do the Potters. That would be amazing. But to watch like New Hope.
They do Star Wars ones.
Star Wars ones.
They do a series of Star Wars
like
ones
that
too.
because
Mhm.
it's John Williams music. It's like, oh,
I know.
Right.
Anything just
and I wanna.
you should keep an eye out. They might come to the embassy sometime and do that. So.
I don't know if
It's a
Brett would be
traveling
interested
thing.
in that.
Just tell him to go. It's great. It's a great atmosphere. Robbie likes Harry Potter, but he's not super into it. But he loved it. I was like, "Did you like it?" And he's like, "This was like the greatest thing that we went to." He thought it was awesome.
That's
And
Okay.
he's like more than Brett into Harry Potter, but still.
Yeah,
doesn't
Brett's
care
not
as
in at
much as
all.
I do.
He's not in at all.
Just
More than
maybe
Brett,
it'll
that's
make him
not saying
appreciate it.
Right.
Huh?
said
I
more
think
than
it's
Brett,
gonna
but
take a
that's not
lot.
saying that. Yeah.
I think it's gonna take a lot.
Mm. No.
Listen, I got him to appreciate going to Disney World.
That's fair.
That's a
One
win.
step.
That's my biggest win.
One giant step.
Is he appreciates Disney World. He went. We already talk about when we're going back next. That's the win.
That's the key one right there.
It's the key one. Yes, Harry Potter is fine. He can. That one's not a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't realize Disney was a deal breaker, but it was a deal breaker.
Now you know.
Sorry,
Should
honey.
you have not liked it? Mm.
Well,
Lost myself
let's be honest. Just in general, we've talked about this before, Brett.
Mhm.
We talked about when I started dating, if I found someone to date, if they didn't have appreciation for going to Disney, there'd be no point of us dating because literally I'm not changing. It's
Mhm.
not going away
Mhm.
ever.
Nope.
So I can deal with him her not liking Harry Potter.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Still trying to figure out how to get him to appreciate pirates a little bit more. That one still stings.
Who doesn't like pirates?
Apparently my boyfriend.
I don't get it.
Don't
It's a
either.
pirate movie. Like, come on.
Give him time. It actually took me a while to warm up to pirates. So
Just make him watch it over and over again then until he likes it.
yeah.
There's a solution.
Has he seen all of them or just the first one?
He's seen the first 3. I have not made him watch 4 and 5 because honestly, I didn't want to watch 4.
Don't. They're not worth it.
Exactly. We just can pretend they're not a
Just-
thing.
We pretend they're not there.
Just the first thing.
Okay, quotes.
Yay.
Quotes. All right.
Uh-huh.
We've mentioned this several times, but I put this money. How much is this? 5 galleons. How much is this? 5 galleons. I'm your brother. 10 galleons.
So
So great.
I love
And then the scene where they're in the hallway and McGonagall tells Harry to go over to potions or, to join
Yeah.
And they do the whole exchange and just take Weasley with you. He looks way too happy over there.
Love McGonagall.
Love McGonagall. Love that whole scene. And then I really like that you had mentioned this scene, Ashley, because everything you listed about this particular scene, I completely am in agreement with. And then for the exact same reasons, like the scene where Hermione's breaking down about seeing, her feelings for Ron.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like everything about it really sums up just one, who she is, who Harry is, and why that particular friendship is so good. Like that brother sister, like consoling each other. Where she says, "How does it feel, Harry, seeing Dean and Ginny? Like, I know, I see the way you look at her. You're my best friend." And then she does the whole thing with the birds against Ron, and it's like, it feels like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like I like seeing that. It's like I love that how it developed her and Ron as their feelings for each other, but also developed her and Harry as their sibling type of like, it's just like such a really pivotal and absolutely beautiful moment. So completely love that. And then you mentioned this one as well. She's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one. But I am the chosen one. Smack.
You gotta do it with the right inflection. She's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one. But I am the chosen one. Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry.
So funny.
Yeah, it's so good. And then after the previous scene, Hermione comes and sees Ron and her, they're snogging, and that whole like, excuse me, I have to go vomit. I mean, I think we've all had an excuse me, I have to go vomit moment more than once.
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely felt that one. Ron finally, Ron coming out of the whole thing, this whole love spell, he's out of it. These girls, they're gonna kill me. Oh,
He's lucky they haven't killed him yet. Even before this movie.
He really is.
Yeah.
But I kind of threw this one in there at the last minute just because I wanted an extra quote, and that's one of the things I like about Slughorn. He is what he is. He just embellishes whatever. He enjoys life. So it's like, I know you kids are a little, probably a little young for this, but whatever. Under the circumstances, I think we're fine. Couple, we all get a little glass of wine, just to life. So that's the quote, to life.
I couldn't remember where it was from. I'm like, where is that from?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's after they come out of the love potion and everything. And,
yeah, that's right.
It's like, normally this wouldn't be a good idea, but under the circumstances, I think it's fine. So
was not a good idea, but okay.
No, it wasn't, because it was
okay. Ron, whoop, and then
bye bye, Ron.
Oops.
Exactly. And then again, this is another one that I kind of threw in at the last minute, but because I love the whole scene where Harry finally takes the whole luck potion or whatever, and that whole sequence where he's just got this big grin on his face the whole time.
Yep.
How you feel? Excellent. Really excellent. Yeah. But then when they're going, they're talking about the big what arachno, whatever it is.
Aragog.
Arachno, yeah.
Oh, what's it called? It's a specific name. I don't remember.
It's something related to a spider. I know that.
Yes, it's just a big giant.
Acromentia.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Maybe.
He's a big freaking spider. That's all.
Exactly.
He's a huge spider.
Yeah, and there's Hagrid's just going over all the different things, and then just like it's so random. Like it feels just so like hyped up on caffeine moment where Harry just goes, "Oh yeah, not to mention pictures,"
And he does the thing.
Well, they're talking about how he's a scary spider,
right?
And they're talking about things, and Harry's like, not to mention the pincers,
right? Like it's not really out of the ordinary, but it feels out of the ordinary for Harry. Like he's
very happy when he's doing it.
What's that?
He's very happy when he's saying this.
Harry has not been happy. No.
No, it's one of those moments where it's like, Harry, I think you've had a little too much caffeine.
Little.
But I'm sure there were plenty of other quotes, but it was like 11:15 at night, and I was tired. So, but those are the main ones that I wanted to throw.
Yeah.
So, I was going through this.
Yeah. As I was trying to find the quote that apparently I missed you having, I found a couple from Jenny with Jenny, book Jenny.
Okay.
She says, the thing about growing up with Fred and George, said Jenny thoughtfully, is that you sort of start thinking anything's possible if you've got enough nerve.
Yep.
And then this sequence, you'd think people had better things to gossip about, said Jenny as she sat on the common room floor, leaning against Harry's leg and reading the Daily Prophet. 3 Dementor attacks in a week, and all Rimmel the Vane does is ask me if it's true you've got a hippogriff tattooed across your chest. Ron and Hermione both roared with laughter. Harry ignored them. What did you tell her? I told her it's a Hungarian horntail, said Jenny, turning the page of a newspaper idly. Much more macho. Thanks, said Harry, grinning. And what did you tell her Ron's got? A pygmy puff. But I didn't say where.
So funny.
A pygmy puff is literally like a ball of just
right.
hair.
This fluff. Yeah.
It's like this cute little fluffy thing.
It's so funny.
Just, I love Book Jenny.
Yes.
I love Book Jenny.
It's so
That
great.
is what we needed in the movie.
If only.
Yeah,
I know.
If only.
This one's a Hungarian horntail. Much more macho.
Exactly. Much more macho. Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Okay. So for me, Professor McGonagall, when she's dealing with our trio for like the millionth time, and she says, why is it when something happens, it is always you 3? And I love Ron in this moment. Believe me, Professor, I've been asking myself the same question for 6 years. Very true.
You stole that from me. I love that quote.
Well, I didn't take very many because I was trying to
know.
be generous since I would be going last.
Literally my favorite quote.
But that's the first one I thought of. So yeah. And then there's that whole scene in the hospital, which we did touch on a little bit ago, when Ron is unconscious and he starts saying Hermione's name. That scene is also super funny. I probably should mention it was one of my favorite ones. When Lavender comes in, and it's the most awkward thing on the planet, with her talking about Wan and arguing with Hermione. That entire scene. And I like to watch in the background because you've got Dumbledore and you've got Snape in particular back there, standing there awkwardly, and Slughorn. But it's so funny when you just watch how this entire thing is playing out and nobody leaves. Everybody just stands there during this entire very cringy scene with Lavender freaking out about Ron. And at the end of it, she leaves very, very upset about the whole Hermione thing, and how Dumbledore just says, oh, to be young and feel love's keen sting. It's so funny to me.
Funny.
And if you watch Alan Rickman in the background, you can tell the whole time he's like, why am I still here? Can I leave? Like, I don't want to be a part of this.
He's annoyed.
Yes. And it's hilarious. It makes it even better. That whole thing is so funny. And then when Snape finally confronts Harry about the spell, that he shoots at him, he says, you dare use my own spells against me, Potter? Yes, I'm the Half-Blood Prince. It's just so dramatic in the movie, the way he does it. But we still don't really understand any of the reason why. But it's a dramatic reading, so I applaud Alan for the dramatics of it. But we don't really understand what that means. But still, it's the title of the movie, so you have to bring it up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. So something I didn't bring up in the last movie, and I just want to touch on it because I was trying to find Fred and George's quotes. But you guys remember in the last movie where they're talking, Molly is like fawning over Ron because he's finally a prefect, and Fred and George, she doesn't mention the fact that Fred and George didn't get anything, like, oh, we have another prefect in the family, it's so great, and they look, I don't remember what she says, but she says something where they look at each other like, what are we, neighbors? Like, are we nothing but neighbors? I just had to bring that up because it was funny.
No,
because everyone's accomplished in the family, but
look at them. Look at them now. They have their own joke shop. It's very popular.
Is Jenny your prefect?
I do not remember if they mentioned
no. Jenny was not a prefect.
I was like, it didn't seem like she was, but I could be wrong.
So they are not the only ones in the family who did not become prefects. Interesting.
Hmm.
Well,
Some fans do wonder if she would become head girl, like when they go back to school that one year after Deathly Hallows, but no idea.
yeah. There's a lot going on when she goes back to school, so, you know,
Yeah.
bit of a
And
change up at Hogwarts.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot of great quotes in this movie. I love that. Why is it when something happens, it's always you three?
So funny.
So great.
Sorry, Professor, you know.
Sorry. I can't help it. You got the
Mm-mm.
chosen one.
Mm-mm.
What can you do?
What are you gonna do?
And there's one other thing, because we dogged a lot on Dumbledore recently and the acting choices by him.
Man.
But I want to say in this movie, I do find Dumbledore overall very enjoyable as a character. He does not come across negatively to me the way he is portrayed throughout this film. So I just want to give him kudos for that. I really did enjoy Dumbledore during this entire movie.
He felt calmer.
Yeah, the way he dealt with Tom and all of that. Yeah, it was not over the top acting or anger or anything like that.
You saw so much just sadness in the end when he's trying
I agree.
to, help Draco out. Like, that's the Dumbledore that we got from the first two.
And seeing him struggle at the cave was just terrible.
Well, and I wonder if Michael made the decision because he knew Dumbledore was dying to tone him down.
Quite possibly.
Because, yeah, I mean, he can't keep up the vigor that he had Dumbledore doing if he's dying.
Yeah. So that's possible, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, do we miss anything else in this one? There's just so much going on.
It really is.
It's a lot in this movie, yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things I always kind of forget about too. It's like we see all the other ones, and this one's kind of like, in my mind, in any way, it's almost like your kind of step cousin. But then I watch it, and I'm like, this is actually one of the best ones.
I really like this one a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot going on here. That's good. Yep. Oh my gosh, next week we are stepping into the final book and the final two movies. How are we already there? How are we already almost done with summer?
I know.
It flew by, man.
It's crazy.
Did.
Flew by.
Oh my gosh. So next week we will be doing, Pixie Dusters, we are splitting up the book. So this is going to be, I'm going to have to really work on this one because I got to make sure that, because the book isn't split, so everything I'm finding, I got to make sure I put the beginning stuff with part 1 and the end stuff with part 2. That's going to be a lot. Darn. Oh well. So next week we will be diving into Deathly Hallows Part 1, which ends at the beach, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ends at the beach. So be ready for the next 2 episodes because they are going to be even more emotional roller coasters than these have been, because this is when we really get into, like, we've lost some people. We just lost Dumbledore, but this is where we're getting, it's like one after another of deaths that we're going to have to deal with. And each one is even more emotionally traumatizing to, I know me, I don't know about you guys, but just so much.
When we get to Dobby, it's going to be the worst thing on.
It's going to be a hard one.
And it's next episode.
Yes, and it's awful.
It's absolutely awful. Okay. Well, Pixie Dusters, go watch a fun, happy movie. Get out of the, don't sit in the sadness that we just put you in. But we will see you next week for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Okay.
So long.
Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Twins podcast featuring Dan. The show is written and produced by Ashley and Sammy, except for those manifestos, which are all written by Dan himself. Intro and audio editing by Sammy, logo created by Ashley. This show is produced as part of the Limitless Broadcasting Network. Make sure you check out all of our other shows and have a magical day.